as always. Jim Walsh on the board, and Jim, usually the show is a couple dumb guys talking.
Yeah.
And then we've got you as
we got a hot babe today
on your excellence on the board.
No offense. No.
But today the intelligent quotient has went up.
Yes, it has.
The smile-o-meter has gone way up.
Absolutely.
And the beauty barometer is off the charts.
Yeah.
No
the
thanks to
studio
us.
is positively radiant today.
Yes, because we have Miss Dodd-Frank.
Yay.
Well, good morning.
Good
Yes.
morning.
Not to be confused with Dodd-Frank.
Yes.
we don't-
Which is a whole
that
different
came up
kettle of fish.
yesterday,
Well,
David.
we say Frank Dodd on this show.
Okay.
Because we don't want anybody to think we're mad at Dodd.
Okay.
So, okay. Welcome, Dodd.
Well,
Good to see you
thank
from the Bis-Man Home Builders Association.
Yes.
Everybody knows you anyway because you do a show. You do a show on the station.
We do. Yeah, we do the Free for All Friday. It was
You were-
just here last week.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Okay. So we're gonna talk. We'll do our interest rate stuff here, but then we will be talking. You got a big home show coming
We
up.
do, yeah, next week. So right around the corner for us is a big annual affair for us where we have an opportunity for all of our builders and associate members to showcase their goods and services to the general public. And, we like to say it's HGTV live and in person.
Go. Yeah.
So,
okay.
yeah.
Well, we'll get into details about that. But first, as always, we do interest rate stuff here on Dakota Housing Network. All right, the Freddie Mac survey for the week ending today. This is really up to date, tell you what, except that their survey is not very accurate because it's really like through about Monday. But they put it out today. But anyway, the 30-year fixed rate mortgage averaged 4.17% for the week ending today. That's down from last week when it averaged 4.19%. So it's going down, Dot. Interest rates are going down, 0.2%. Okay.
We like that.
Okay, the 15-year averaged 3.39, and that was down from last week when it was 3.41. So no big changes. A year ago, the 30-year was at 3.65, so today it's at 4, let's say 4.25, 4.125. So half a percentage point really is what they're up. So interest rates are still good. They haven't gone up a lot. They went up a lot after the election, and then they've kind of stabilized, and basically just kind of within a range, and they're just floating there. So no big changes. Our friend Barry Habib from the MBS Highway, what is he saying today? He said if you're looking at your rates, you should carefully floating today. No big changes or anything, depending upon what it might happen. There was a bad bond auction yesterday. Got like a D+. So that wasn't good, but, they handled it. That was a $15 billion 30-year bond auction, and it didn't go well, but didn't really affect rates any, so no big deal. So anyway, Barry's saying there was a good initial jobless claim report yesterday. There were less people filing for unemployment benefits for the first time. That decreased, was at 234,000, which was 12,000 lower than last month and much better than expectations at 250. So that was good news. So anyway, no big deals there. So interest rates are still good, folks. If you're sitting on the fence on locking with your loan officer, I'd say just go ahead and lock it in and take it.
Yeah, and I think, one thing that's really important in listening to the report about rates, while they went up, from last year, people really need to keep in mind the specifics, particularly when you're sharing percentages or any kind of stats.
Yeah.
Going up is really relative because even though they did go up, 4% is amazing.
Yes.
Yes, it's an amazing opportunity to leverage someone else's money to establish yourself in a home.
Yeah.
And so don't lose sight of the fact that while it's up, that's all relative. And considering all things, this is a great opportunity to access those funds and become a homeowner.
So, your family first loan you got, do you know what the interest rate was on a home?
Our very first?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So I was pretty fortunate because when we first bought it would have been in 2002.
Okay.
And so our interest rates, I would say they were probably around that 4 or 5%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So
yeah. So initially we did pretty good.
Not much different than
yeah,
today.
not much different than today. We didn't experience because we'd already been in a home the lows where we got into the 3s.
Mm-hmm.
But even where we're at now, considering the stories that I've heard of, my parents, their generation, and generations before, where you had interest rates in the double digits.
Yes.
Well,
no. When I first bought my place, I think I got a 6.5. Okay, so 2-3% higher than what it is now. Now, when North Dakota Housing, when we first started, back in the early 80s, our first bond issue, the interest rate that we had out on the street was 13%, and the market was 17%. So
Yeah.
just remember that.
Yes.
So historically, these are still good numbers. So, okay, Dot. Home show,
Yes.
next week, February 17th.
Yes,
right?
17th and 18th. So our home show is a big 2-day event at the Bismarck Event Center. We're really excited with the expansion of the event center. It's allowed us to have everybody under the same roof, and that's in the exhibit hall. So we take up the entire exhibit space, both the original exhibit hall and then the new addition, and we fill it to the max with all sorts of exhibits, both those locally and our tried and true traveling exhibitors that come back and sell the sheets and the pillows and all of those items that you wait with anticipation for on an annual basis. But we're really excited this year. Not only is the home ownership opportunity out there alive and being realized by people, but there's some really, really neat things going on from a home infrastructure perspective. And so you're seeing more and more technology infused into houses. Style is at the forefront. It's not just function, it's functionality plus style. And the home show really represents an opportunity for people to get out and touch and feel and see those products that they might be browsing on the internet or watching come across television. And so you'll be able to stop and see the shower head that has the Bluetooth speaker integrated into it.
Oh,
you'll be
boy.
able so it's a really, really great opportunity to get in and be tactile with all of these jobs, and reach out and talk to our builders and contractors. Find out what projects they're working on, see their portfolios, and perhaps share your dreams with them.
Yeah, no, like the tech thing is a big deal. From controlling your heat and cooling and alarm systems and fridges that tell you when to go buy groceries and all this stuff. So will some of the vendors have this stuff set up so people can say, hey, this is how this alarm
Absolutely.
system works,
Yeah,
or-
absolutely. In fact, we've got quite a few companies that do automated home systems that will be a part of the show. And, as years pass, they've put together spectacular displays that allow them to demonstrate how these objects work. And in fact, I'm wondering right now if our friends down at the mall wish they had a little bit of that automation and security in their
poor
facility.
Kirkwood Mall.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness, because these systems are so sophisticated. Not only are you able to control temperature and lighting, from your phone, but you can check the status of your house to find out if, there is a water leak.
Yeah.
And you can not only detect the water leak, but you can stop the leak. There's that much automation that can go onto homes. So it provides a lot of reassurance to people, and it protects that asset, which is your home.
Absolutely. No, I have that. I have one in my house. It's just an add-on that I put in myself, alarm system, and it's got the carbon monoxide detectors and the water sensor. So I've got one down by my water heater, et cetera, in case that leaks. Now I can't turn anything off with mine, but it's
you're made
simple.
aware, and
But
you can go.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
get buzzed, and I'm not that
yes.
far away, and I live in Bismarck. I'm not that far away,
Yes,
so I can
absolutely.
get there in time to turn it off.
Yeah, so some neat stuff.
Yeah. What is the biggest things that that's new or?
Gosh, I think there's so much, and it just really depends on where your interests lie. But the great thing about coming to a home show or any type of vendor fair is that you go with an idea in mind as far as what you want to look for and what you want to see. Perhaps I'm interested in replacing my flooring, so I really want to kind of hone in on our flooring exhibitors. However, when I'm there, I'm exposed to so much more that I might not have considered, and so you're able to gather ideas that you didn't anticipate getting. And so I think everything from flooring, exterior finishes to technology.
Okay. All right. Well, we're hitting on a break. Jim's saying get out of here. We got to go to a break. We're doing the Beatles today?
Yeah, let's do some Beatles.
Okay, a day in the life. We'll be back on the Dakota Housing Network.
I read the news today, oh boy.
Currently, it's 4 below.
News and Views with Joel Heitkamp. Weekdays on Super Talk 1270.
All right, day 4. We're back on the Dakota Housing Network. Jim Walsh on the board. Joe Sheehan's somewhere driving around in North or South Dakota. Greg is in Washington, D.C.
Hobnobbing with the big guys.
Politicking.
Yeah.
I don't know what he's doing out there. And then Brian, I don't know where Brian's probably in town somewhere.
Yeah.
He's eating.
He's eating?
Yeah,
You figure he's at
his
lunch?
coffee, lunch,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, we brought in Dot Frank.
Yay!
today from Bismarck Home Builders. And Dot's got a big event coming up next weekend, Friday and Saturday at the
We do.
Bismarck Events Center, the Bismarck Home Builders Home Show.
Our home show.
How many times has there been one of those?
This is our 40th annual.
40.
Yes.
Oh my goodness! You started when you were young.
Very
you were
young.
like 1 or
Yeah.
0. You weren't even born yet.
I wasn't even born yet.
Oh my goodness,
no.
you are a prodigy.
This precedes me.
Okay, it precedes you. Okay, you haven't been there for all of them.
No,
Okay.
not unless we count maybe working from the womb.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. All right. Well, anyway, but it's a big event coming up next Friday and Saturday at the Bismarck Event Center. We talked a little bit about it, but okay. One thing I asked over the break was, how do you get in there? You got to go in the south entrance, the north entrance, and
we open up all of them.
they're all open. Okay.
Yeah.
Don't come in the vendor one though with the big doors.
No, well, if you could try to come into that one,
Yeah.
but we've got someone policing. It's actually the event center has staff that sits by the door, and they'll wave a finger at you at a minimum.
Okay.
If you attempt to come in that
Okay.
route, and they'll make
So
you go around anyway.
You'd have to be incognito or something.
Yeah, let's
to get
not
in
give
that.
anybody
Don't
any
do it.
suggestions.
Don't do that.
Yeah, no.
But anyway, the north entrance, the new one up on the top of the hill on Front Avenue, or the south.
Absolutely.
As usual.
Yep.
Okay. All right. And the hours are?
The hours are, so we open up next week, Friday is the first day of the show, and we are open from 3 p.m. until 9 p.m. So, if you want to get in early and avoid, a crowd, definitely come right at 3 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as kids get out from school, throw them in your car and bring them on down.
There you go.
It's an excellent opportunity for you to get out, stretch your legs, particularly with the weather that we've had.
Mm-hmm.
If anything, it's an opportunity to kind of window shop and get some good miles on your pedometer
There you go.
at the event
Yeah,
center.
exactly.
And so we welcome everybody to come down after school, stay with us. Through the evening, we're open until 9 o'clock at night. Concessions are open, so you could spend the whole evening with
Yeah,
us, grab a
dinner.
bite to eat. Yeah,
okay,
absolutely.
yeah.
So we're gonna have a lot of fun from 3 to 9 on Friday, and then we open the doors again on Saturday at 10 a.m.
Okay.
So we're open 10 a.m. until 6 p.m.
Okay.
on
so,
Saturday.
So I have lunch.
You can have lunch.
Or an early dinner.
Absolutely.
Okay, all right.
Absolutely. And it's really important. Friday is an excellent opportunity to come out. It's free admission, courtesy of our sponsor, Capital Credit Union. And so come out on Friday. I think what you'll find is there's a lot to take in. So take advantage of Free Friday and then come back on Saturday. Reason being, not only to continue checking out our exhibits, but to enter your chance to win $50,000.
50,000?
$50,000. Yes.
Like 50,
Yes.
comma 000.
Absolutely. So again, our friends at Capital Credit Union are sponsoring our 50K giveaway on Saturday. As a spectator, you have an opportunity to go to their booth. They've got a money bank. You come up with a 4-digit code, punch it in, and if it unlocks the vault, you've got your hands on $50,000.
Oh boy. How many times can you play?
I think they limit it to one time per spectator. So this is a reason, though, to come with a crowd.
Yeah, there you go.
So don't just come on your own. Bring your friends and family members so that everybody has an opportunity to crack that code.
Okay. And if you really want to win, you would just sit there and watch all the numbers everybody else put in.
And cross those off your list.
Yeah, and then keep all that in your head, and then you'd win at the end of the day.
So I'm going to see you on Saturday then, right, Dave?
I cannot...
Sitting right next to
cannot do that.
the cash vault.
I cannot do that. My mind does not work that way. It barely works at all. So, okay. So we've got there. You'll have home builders. You'll have guys that do subcontracting, the plumbers, the landscape people.
Absolutely.
Everything, right?
Yeah, and we don't want to forget about service folks. So,
Okay.
We have a great participation by service providers. So your lenders. So we'll have banks if you're interested in finding out how you go about starting that stretch to home ownership. It begins with a banker.
Yeah.
And so you can meet some bankers, find out from them what you should do to gather up information and get yourself ready for pre-approval. We've also got insurance providers that are there, and they're there to help you and talk about your current insurance needs, which may or may not include a home. This show isn't limited to just homeowners. We encourage renters. We encourage college students, anybody and everybody who's looking for some inspiration to amplify their environment or their space.
Decorating stuff. I'm sure there's going to
Absolutely.
be stuff there just to decorate your apartment or whatever also, right?
Yep,
Yeah, okay,
absolutely.
super. Anything else?
Scavenger hunt. So,
okay.
we're always trying to find new and fun ways to keep our show fresh. And this year, that comes in the form of a scavenger hunt. So, all children that come to the show on Saturday, so doors open at 10 a.m. on Saturday, will receive a map. And the map will have the route they need to take in order to find different treasures throughout the store. So they'll stop at various vendors and they'll be given a trinket, anything from a cape to a bag to, flashlights or whistles, whatever you have, the vendors will be giving out. So it'll be like trick-or-treating for the youth that come out on Saturday for the show.
Cool. And you collect everything? Is there some prize at the end?
Yes, so you collect everything, and we have a grand prize at the end, and we'll reveal what that is when you come to the show.
Okay. A little teaser here.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Okay. Now, you talked about you have an interactive map on your website that people can go out and see wherever everybody's going to be at.
So we just got done talking about technology and technology in the homes. Yep. We're implementing technology through our association and making things fun and accessible for our spectators. And so we have created an interactive online map. So Terry, who is the queen of our home show event back in the office, has put together a map. And the vendor map is interactive. So you can go on to our website, which is Bis-Man Home Show. So bismarck.youtube.com and access information for exhibitors. We still have a handful of booths available. You can access information for your kids' activities, and then information for you as a spectator. And part of that information includes an interactive map. So you can hover over, see who's where, plan your route. And in fact, if you're looking for something specific, you really want to find out about kitchens and baths, you can search by category and we'll pop up a list of those vendors who are in the kitchen and bath category so that you can make sure that, you find those people at our show when you come and attend.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. And if I got limited time, I only got an hour or something.
You narrow the list?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It helps really navigate the show because it's an expansive space that we fill.
Yeah, that's one thing. If you haven't been to the event center, that exhibit hall, it's bigger than it used to be.
Yes. Yes.
And and you put some booths in there, and it's just, it's big. And if you got a limited time, you probably want to narrow down where you need to go. So
absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So can they plan the scavenger hunt thing? Is that every vendor's going to have something? Or
no.
Yep.
Yep. So that's why you have the map.
You could plan that route too.
So it's important that you come on Saturday and pick up your map. The map will help lead you, and hopefully it's a fun activity for both parents and children when they arrive. It'll keep your child occupied because they are eyes on the map, but it'll allow you some time too to scope out those booths. Yeah. And so it's a great family friendly event where we open it up to everybody, and we've got participating vendors who have dedicated the funds to purchase the items that the kids will walk away with. Yeah, okay. And so they'll get all sorts of trinkets to take back, including a bag. We're really grateful for all of our event sponsors this year. We have a VIP lounge sponsor, so all of our exhibitors have access to a lounge that includes complimentary refreshments, and kind of a nice quiet area away from the show when they need to take a break and catch up. And that is provided by American Bank Center. And then we also have another sponsor. First International Bank and Trust is back this year again, and they are our official tote sponsor. Oh, okay. So you always walk away from the show with something, brochures and information. Yeah, right. They are at the door to give you that bag to contain all the goodies that even adults will receive when they come to the home show.
All right. Okay, well, Jim is telling us we've got a break. And Jim, what are you going to play now?
Some more early Beatles.
Okay. Every Little Thing. I don't know if I know this song even. Okay. Well, we'll be back on the Dakota Housing Network.
People tell me I'm lucky. Yes, I know I'm a lucky guy.
Currently, it's 4 below.
Here's Sean Hannity, weekday afternoons on Super Talk 1270.
Since she's been gone, I want no one to talk to me.
All right, back on the Dakota Housing Network, Dave Floor, along with Jim Walsh and our special guest, Dot Frank. And don't bother me. Well, we're going to bother Dot, though.
Sure.
That's fine with her. We don't listen to George Harrison. We're going to bother everybody, Jim. Okay, all right. Okay. Okay, Dot, we are talking. Dot, of course, is from the Bis-Man Home Builders. And if you'd like to ask her a question about the home show or anything else, 663-1270, call it in.
It would be great to have a caller.
Yeah, super.
Bother us.
Bother us,
please.
yes. Yes, Bother Us, Please. That should be the title of a different song.
It should.
It probably is somewhere. Somebody wrote that one. Jim, do you know? Did they ever write a song called Bother Us, Please?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. Well, how about we work on that?
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe we'll have a hit. Okay. All right. So Dot's with the Bis-Man Home Builders, and we are talking about the home show. But now let's talk about a little bit more nuts and bolts about home building. Now, home ownership rate. Bismarck-Mandan market here. So it's Burley-Morton County. We have a 73% home ownership rate, which is much higher than the national.
Outstanding, which is outstanding.
Yep, national is what, 64%, I believe now. And for instance, like a Fargo is in like low 50s, I believe. And of course, they're a little bit different because of NDSU and Concordia and Moorhead State, big school there and stuff. So there's a lot of rental. But for Burley-Morton County to have that home ownership rate, 73%, is just
it's remarkable. And I think
unique.
I think what's really exciting about that is, when you've got home ownership, not only are you creating some stability and some wealth and some true benefits for those people who reside in homes. Everything from, their health and education improves when you're in a home ownership situation. But I think what's really great about being in the Bismarck-Mandan area and having numbers like that is, it's a testament to our community. There's a reason why people are choosing to be homeowners here, and it's because we've got such a wonderful environment to reside in.
Once you get here, you want to stay.
You do, absolutely. Yeah. And so, I think that's something that as a community we really need to be proud of and share that information and give the reasons why our number is statistically higher than that across the country. And it's because we're a wonderful place to make a commitment toward.
Absolutely. I don't know how else you can explain that. That's the only one that makes sense. So anyway, obviously, most people when they buy a home, are existing homes. There's more existing homes than new construction. Is that sales? That's true, right? Okay. So a lot of that is due to first-time home buyers.
Absolutely.
That's the most affordable option for them versus new construction. But we have to have home builders to build new homes, because somebody that buys a home and they live there for a while, average amount of time somebody keeps a home, and I know under our program, which is primarily first-time home buyers, our loans last about 7-8 years. That's a normal number, and people are looking to move up usually because they start out, it's either a single person that bought a house or a young couple. Okay, they have a kid, they have another kid. Now that starter home isn't quite big enough, so you want to build. Okay, so we need a home builder. Now, what are things, obstacles for builders to build homes? And then what goes into building a home, and what's the cost factors and everything that the builders have to deal with?
Well, I think one thing that is important for everyone to realize is that home ownership and really our local economy is contingent on our industry in addition to others, and not only the new construction to accommodate growth as we see new members come into our community, but also to accommodate change and growing needs or changing needs. And so, it's really interesting to drive it around the community and get into some of our new developments and see the diversity of homes that's occurring. Not only are we building homes that accommodate a growing family, so larger square footage, more storage space, room to roam. But we're also seeing a real response in our area when it comes to the needs of aging homeowners. And so, the condos that are going up today now are accommodating those needs. It's no longer a 3-level condo that you're seeing. Because we have an aging population, you're looking at patio homes, twin homes. Yep. And so we always are there to serve that need. Yeah. And the one thing I wanted, before I talk about kind of what goes into the cost of construction and contributes it and the challenges we're facing, I do want people to be aware that, while you see a lot of first home buyers gravitate towards existing inventory, there is a real opportunity for first-time home buyers to get into new construction. We've got plenty of builders in this community that focus on homes for first-time home buyers. They're entry-level builders, so it's a smaller footprint. It's the more nominal amenities so that you can get your foot in the door and expand. Because once you're in the house and your income expands, not only do you have the opportunity to move out and up into a home, but you also have the opportunity in that home to customize it. So maybe it doesn't have the granite countertops that you dreamed of. It's the laminate. you come to our home show, you see Heim Granite, and you're at a position now as a homeowner where you've got some equity that you can draw out after talking to a lender at the home show, and you're putting that in. And so there is some opportunity to serve both markets, both the custom home buyer and then also the entry-level buyer. But, it's interesting when you look at the numbers and what goes into the cost of a home. Right now, our biggest challenge when it comes to creating affordable housing, and this is across the country, it's not just here in the Bismarck-Mandan area, but it's really lots and labor. Lot costs are incredibly high, and I'm still relatively young, and I think about the cost of a lot right now is comparable to the price I paid for my entire first home, including the lot. And so when you've got a lot that is $60,000 to $80,000, how do you build an affordable home? How do you get to that $150,000, $200,000 range when you've got a third of the cost is in your lot?
Can't.
It's hard.
Yeah.
And so lot costs are something that we really have to pay attention to, and any way we could mitigate that really helps bring down the price of construction. The other thing that really has an impact on housing costs is labor, the cost of labor. We're very fortunate as a state to have low unemployment, but that comes with some costs. And when we have such a low unemployment rate, it makes high demand for laborers. And when you've got high demand, you've got high costs. And so that's something too that we're really facing. In addition to a continued lack of interest in today's youth to pursue technical trades. So not only do we have more jobs with fewer people, but we have less interest in the type of work it takes to build a home.
Well, we had housing conference the last 2 days that you participated in, and we talked about, we had a session on student loan debt, a whole session, and then Shirley Glass from the Bank of North Dakota talked about their refinance program they have for that. And student debt is an issue. If nothing else, it's delaying a lot of younger people from buying. Because it's another debt, and you
have to account for it.
Yes. So it's harder to save for down payment or just cash reserves when you buy a house. But I think I like what you just said. I think there needs to be a little bit more emphasis on the trades. You don't need to go to a 4-year college to learn a trade. You can go to the 2-year college. BSC has a construction program, correct?
Absolutely.
Right here in Bismarck. And we just heard you guys need more people that can come and pound the nails, frame a house up, HVAC, whatever it might be. You need more of that, and that would help with the cost of construction because you just have a bigger pool to draw from. Well,
and what I think is exciting, and hopefully this is something that our community and our school system is communicating to the local youth, is there's a ton of opportunity that's presented when you go into the trades. Any trade. It's not the blue collar, come home dirty, plumber crack showing careers of yesteryear. I mean, our small business owners who are subcontractors have flexibility in their scheduling. They have true creative freedom to follow through on their commitments and jobs. They make incredible incomes. When you look at the income that you can draw in the services, it's amazing, and they're not straddled by student loan debt.
Right.
Because they're not pursuing a 4-year degree that probably takes them 6 years in, the educational system we have. So there's just incredible opportunity. And I think, what's so exciting is the technology too that's being incorporated into all these trades. It's not just manual labor. There's a lot of logistical thinking that's involved. When you look at HVAC systems, and how everything is automated and computerized. I mean, it's really neat to see students who have that desire to be in gaming or to utilize their phones and computers. We need to show them that those are the types of tools that they will be using in the technical trades today. And we work to effectively communicate that. I don't know how we, beyond just exposing youth to young entrepreneurs who have found success in the building trades.
Just driving over to the studio this morning, I heard it was a local company, a trade. It was an electric company talking about, a guy calls in and say, can I speak to the owner? And, they had all these guys answer, say, you call here, you're talking to an owner because it's an employee or an owned company. And it's a small company, but it's employee. You have those opportunities. I think really more young people, high school, they need to think about this because there is great opportunity there.
Great opportunity.
Yeah, and you get to use cool stuff.
Very cool stuff.
Yeah.
And you get to be a part of a really cool crowd. I mean, we consider ourselves quite fun at the Home Builders Association, and you come into a community, and that's really what it is. You know, you might be an entrepreneur and you might be a small business owner or work for a small business, but you've got the support of a larger industry behind you.
Yeah.
And so you should take comfort in that. But anytime anybody shows any kind of interest in pursuing the local trades, contact the Home Builders Association because we would love to connect kids to some mentors in our community when it comes to construction.
Yeah, yeah. It is a great opportunity, and you never know, you might come up with an idea as you're working and you create your own company.
Absolutely.
Doing something really cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, all right. We will be back on the Dakota Housing Network. And Jim, roll over Beethoven. All right.
Currently, it's one above.
The Red River Farm Network. Ag News is here on Super Talk 1270.
Wait, oh yes, wait a minute, Mr. Postman. Wait,
All right. We're back on the Dakota Housing Network, waiting for the postman. I actually have to go to the post office today, so that's appropriate, Jim.
Oh, good for you.
Okay, all right.
You can tell them you heard their song on the radio.
Yes. Yeah, I can tell them that. All right, Dave Floor back on the Dakota Housing Network, as always with Jim Walsh and Miss Dot Frank in his studio as our guest from the bismarck.youtube Home Builders. And Dot, we've been talking home show coming up next week, Friday and Saturday. We'll hit back on that before we leave today. We just got done talking about great opportunities for young people to get in the trade business and go to work for home builders and vendors, HVAC companies, electricians, whatever it is. Great opportunities. Now, you were at our housing conference. You were on a panel yesterday, and you talked a little bit about what it goes into a house and what some of the issues are. We said labor costs and regulation and lot prices and all that. Now, you got more detail on what goes into building a home and that.
I mean, I think most people can come to the conclusion on their own what goes into a home, but they just might not figure, at what expense.
Yeah.
And so, when you're looking at the breakdown of the sales price of a house, and this is off of statistics that are provided by our National Association of Home Builders, when you're looking at a typical sales price of $468, and that might seem high, but we're not far from there here in the Bismarck-Mandan community. A lot of the houses that you'll see coming from our home builders, particularly in the Parade of Homes, are right around that $335,000 price range. But when you're looking at a house, the finished lot cost is usually about 18%. And that kind of rings true when you're looking in our community and you're seeing lot prices, anywhere from $60,000 to $80,000. That kind of pans out in a similar fashion. Okay. About 61% of the house price is attributed to construction costs. So that carries the weight, and rightfully so. Your construction costs include everything from the products like your framing and your flooring and your roofing to the labor that's tied to installing all of that. So about 60% of your home price can be attributed to the construction cost. We've got about 1.3% that goes to financing. Overhead and general expenses for the builder is about 5%. Marketing costs are under 1% typically. And then you've got the sales commission, and sales commission, I think a lot of people are probably familiar with if they've ever used a realtor in their lives. Sales commission attributes to about 3.2% for new construction when you consider those splits. And then profitability across the country, the average profit margin for home builders is about 9%.
Okay.
And when you think about how much work, the volume of work and time that goes into managing construction, I mean, there are a lot easier ways of making money. And so, we really like to acknowledge the home builders and their commitment to pursuing this as an industry because it is so essential to the local community and the local economy. Without housing, I don't know what you would have.
Well, how, for instance, and that 9% profit, that's going to vary based on market demand and the area of the country.
Price point, absolutely.
Price point, yeah. So now, if labor is a big deal. How many? I'm a home builder, and I'm arranging to build a house. Number one, how long does it take a typical locally or nationally, and then how many different subcontractors are there typically on a home build?
Yeah, what's kind of interesting, I think the time really varies again too. It really depends on if you're going for an entry level, basic house, and the time that goes into it is even distinguishable based on your style of house. So whether you're building a ranch house or you're building a multi-level, but I think what you see here is probably 5 to 6 months in our area. I mean, you really can. You have the opportunity, even coming to our home show this year, talking to a builder, signing contracts, getting ground broke in the spring and being in a home by fall or prior to winter. And so that's, and the other thing that's really interesting is if we got someone on the phone, let's say from our associations down in Florida, I think you would see that time of construction vary greatly too, not just because of the seasonality of construction in our neighborhood, but I think the pace of construction. What's so interesting is to talk to people here who have had experience working somewhere else.
Okay.
We are a hard working group in North Dakota.
Okay.
I mean, we really hustle. And so, we get homes together fairly quickly, but not compromising the quality of construction at all. We're just hard workers. Get up early, stay late, and we, hit the grindstone. And so I think that's what you're kind of seeing as far as length of time. I think in our market too, when it comes to home construction, you've got a lot of participation on both fronts, and that's something that I think is really beneficial as a buyer. You have a relationship that we like to relate to a marriage with your builder. I mean, you're in it for quite a long haul, and I think you go through the phases of marriage quite often when it comes to your relationship with your home builder. And so it's really important as a consumer out there who's considering new construction to take the time to talk to your builders, not only to vet the builders based on their portfolio, which, when you come to and vet your builders through their participation in the Home Builders Association, I think is important. And you reach a certain level of status when you're working with one of our members. Right. But how you interact and engage with them is really important. And so coming to an event like the home show or participating as a spectator in our parade of homes allows you that opportunity to get a feel for that personality type, to see if you gel, because you're with them thick or thin for the next 5 to 7 months.
Yeah.
And so it's important that you're on the same page, that you communicate effectively together, and you can really work that relationship to both benefit.
Yeah. So you have the honeymoon when you're just talking with
You
them.
do.
And then you sign the contract. That's the marriage.
Absolutely.
That's the big day. And then you go through. Oh, this is great. You got the hole dug and you got the foundations in. Super. And then you start building. Oh, I want to change this or change that. It's kind of like,
Yes.
Yeah. And then you get to the end and hopefully everything's happy.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So it is kind of like a marriage, as you say. But there's the great thing. I asked about how many subcontractors are there typically in it. And the reason I was asking that was how big a deal home building is to a community because of the jobs it creates, the materials you're buying from the local businesses.
Yeah, we really like to share statistics that support the impact of housing on our community in a direct way. So we've got, within our association, we've got 400 members, about 25% of which are builders. And so we've got that impact. But for every builder we have a builder who either employs their own construction crew, but in today's sense, a lot of our builders subcontract that work out, which leads to a whole nother area of opportunity for a community to house and employ your plumbers, your electricians, your tile layers, your masons. And so there's extended wealth that home construction creates for a community, because each of those businesses has employees who bring home a paycheck, who make purchases, who put kids into our school system, who fill seats in the church pews. And so it's really an industry that has tremendous outreach and impact and opportunity, like we discussed before. There's always opportunity for you to get engaged and get involved with home building in some capacity.
Yeah, and I don't, you talked about the opportunity for youth to get into the trades and do this, and you don't have to go to 4 years of college and take on that student debt. Whether you just want to jump into it, you've got a connection with somebody that they'll hire you on to get your entry level golfer or whatever you might be doing to help get that home built, get started with it.
And so many of the
move on.
skills are
It's-
transferable, so,
Yeah.
when you get into a position where you're learning a trade, there is, whether it's here or anywhere else across the country, there's always a need for someone with that know-how. And so you have, true portability when
Yeah.
you invest in yourself in that way and learn those skill sets.
If you're married and your spouse has a job with some company and they get transferred, well, it's pretty easy to transfer that type of experience, because you can basically, if you can work in the home building industry, there's just so much you could do that
Spin off in.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. The one thing that's really exciting to see too, and we have one member in particular who demonstrates this, was a student at Bismarck State College, recipient of our scholarship that the BMHBA provides for students, worked for a local home builder, and then started his own framing company. Yeah. And so not only do you have the opportunity to work for someone else, but the skill sets that you develop, you could go off on your own and create your own company and provide that opportunity for others. So there's so much flexibility.
Yeah, you learn something. I'm not good at constructing or doing anything, but if I would have learned that when I was young, I'm thinking I would have been able to. You can see where that translates. Maybe I'm not building homes, but I'm doing something else.
And it's a fallback.
Yeah, and it's a fallback. But that taught me stuff that I can transfer to some other job. So, okay, well, we're coming to the end of the show here. So we want to plug the home show.
Home show next week, Friday and Saturday. So the 17th and 18th of February.
3 to 9 on Friday, 10 to 6 on Saturday. Scavenger hunt. $50,000 giveaway from Capital Credit Union on Saturday. So go do that. And interactive maps on the what's the website?
bismanhomeshow.com.
Okay, there we go. All right, Dot, thank you so much.
Yeah,
for
thanks
coming
for
on
having
today.
me.
Great seeing you. Jim, thanks as always.
All right.
What are we going out on?
Our theme.
Our theme, okay. The Beatles didn't write that, did they? Okay, all right. Thanks, everybody. We'll next time on the Dakota Housing Network.